videos 1 and 2, we looked at what the incoming changes are to VAT for e-services, broadcasting and telecommunications, and what the business implications of these changes will be. Now we're going to look at some of the outstanding issues which are still in debate and which businesses need to be aware of. The 2015 place of supply rules are complex. Legislators within the European Commission have been working with tax experts from member states and businesses to produce a set of explanatory notes that will provide companies with guidance on their tax status under the new regulations, as well as practical indications of how to implement them. At a recent meeting to discuss these explanatory notes, it became apparent there are some key unanswered questions. Foremost amongst these is who, in the complex supply chains that are a feature of e-services and telecoms, should account for the VAT. If we look at a straightforward supply chain, such as a smartphone app developer selling its products to a consumer via an online app marketplace, Article 9A of the implementing regulations seeks to make the last person taking part in the supply chain responsible for accounting and remitting the VAT, unless they are purely a payment collector. Of course, e-services supply chains are typically not straightforward, with many parties involved, such as content developers, content aggregators, network providers and payment handlers, to name a few. The area still in debate is whether the rules at Article 9A hold up legally. The article presumes that conditions for an agent to be considered a principal are met unless they're explicitly rebutted according to prescribed conditions, and these conditions have to be met by all members of the supply chain. Questions remain as to whether this expands the existing agency rules of the VAT Directive too far, and this is being explored at the moment. It's also hard to see how a supply chain will be able to rely on other parties within the chain acting in accordance with the regulations' conditions. What is important is that all businesses should weigh up whether their position in the supply chain means that they are taking part in the supply, and that's something you might want to take advice on. In addition to the question around who accounts for the VAT, several other areas are still being debated. There is a clear lack of definition across the EU around what constitutes a chargeable event and what the tax point rules are. And this could cause place of supply issues as we transition into 2015 at the end of the year. Businesses need to consider whether their supplies are actually caught by the new rules or not. For example, this may come into question where digital access to a book is granted with the sale of a physical book. Does the digital access fall within the 2015 rules, or is it incidental or ancillary to the sale of the physical book? Similarly, clarity is still needed around the taxation of bundled services. Gathering evidence to support the tax status and location of the customer is also an area of debate. For example, should suppliers of over-the-top services, such as music which may be downloaded through a fixed-line broadband connection, be able to use shared information, such as the location of the fixed-line broadband, as evidence for applying the correct VAT rate to the music?
Pricing your products will be a key commercial issue when moving into the 2015 tax environment. VAT will need to be charged sale by sale and according to the different rates within each of the 28 member states. So now is the time to address your pricing strategy and look at how it might affect margins and customer demand territory to territory. There are two obvious choices. First, to price your products universally, accounting for VAT on the gross price and achieving different margins in different countries. Or second, to price products differently from country to country, maintaining a broadly common margin across the EU countries you trade in. Universal pricing does have its advantages. Key among them is a reduced cost base. However, differentiated pricing offers a greater degree of control over individual margins, and that can be helpful when it comes to staying competitive within a price-sensitive market. There are several approaches to analysing pricing options and deciding upon the best strategy, but all of these take time, and businesses need to start making these investigations now.
We don't know when exactly the final explanatory notes will be released, so getting ahead on these complex areas is a challenge, particularly as supply chains and the services they offer will evolve in tandem with the rules. The key is to look at your business's supply chain through the 2015 VAT lens now. Keep abreast of the latest on the explanatory notes and the guidance being issued by the tax authorities in the various member states. Consider your contracts so that you're in as strong a position as possible when clarification is issued. And plan for your systems changes so that your business can be compliant from the 1st of January 2015. To find out more, visit KPMG's webpage at www.kpmg.com/UK or speak to your usual KPMG advisor.